Ba-ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Welcome to Chapter 8. We're almost done, y'all. Night fell upon the manor. Gil gathered his men to the lounge for a meeting. Is it okay for me to be here? Looking around, I felt out of place. If... Oh, someone must be outside. That was weird. If Gilbert says it's okay for you to be here, it's okay. I heard movement. It sounded like, hey, Michael, how are you? I heard movement outside. I was like, oh. It sounded like, my, blinds were moving. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Looks like everyone is here. Gil walked in casually, then took his position in the center of the lounge. He looked across the room. I take it you've all heard the rumors about the Visconti? About us trying to kill the Falzone's boss. Gil then released his prominent brow. There's no way in hell we'd do such a thing. The rumors are completely false. Sure, we don't get along with them, but we wouldn't actively try to kill them, and that's why I decided to meet with Dante. Gil's announcement caused a stir among the gathering crowd. Wait, Gilbert, don't tell me you're going in alone. Think about what's happening. That's far too risky. Dante Falzone probably doesn't think well of us right now. After all, I'm sure he believes we're the ones who tried to kill him. On top of that, we have Nikolai on our side. Now, who betrayed him? I doubt he'd be willing to talk, even if Gil went to see him personally. Your underboss betrays you, there'd be resentment there. Gil gave a deep chuckle at the comment. Dante holding a grudge against who, Nikolai? Gil's chuckle became louder. He then looked briefly at Nikolai. Well, Nikolai did say something that Dante would try to find a way to kill him. In any case, I'm a traitor. I'll be clipped sooner or later. Dante, as the Falzone's boss, may do that. Or maybe someone in the Visconti will lay their hands on me. I'm hoping to get the good ending. This is the last chapter. And then we find out which ending we get. But I'm assuming as long as we don't die, I'll be okay. And then I need to eventually go back and unlock all the CGs. I already have one bad ending CG unlocked where she gets shot. But I think that unlocked the CG? I don't actually know. In this case, even Nikolai can't see things straight. Not surprising given that he did break our cardinal rule. Yeah. What do you mean by that, Gilbert? You can't seem to make the right call when it comes to matters involving you. I'll be blunt. Dante is looking for a way to not to kill you. Nikolai appeared surprised. Gil's mischief eyes grew gleeful at Nikolai's expression. Gil's eyes grew gleeful at Nikolai's expression. So many names. No matter how cold Dante behaves, he is still a sweet, innocent kid on the inside. You know that better than anyone else here, Nikolai. Now then. Gil looked around again with a brief smile on his face. I actually met Dante already today. Oliver was pinching his forehead in exaggeration. Gilbert, so earlier when you mentioned you would meet with Dante... Yeah, I decided I wanted to meet with him, so I did. Everyone, including Nikolai, stood speechless at the sudden revelation. Gilbert, this is... You little... Ooh, Oliver's pissed! Come on, no need to get so angry. This was far beyond what the Visconti executive could comprehend. Gil continued speaking happily, seeing everyone's mouths agape in disbelief. Oh man, Gil is a character, that is for sure. I decided to go to the Falzone family earlier in the afternoon. Hey Dante, what's with that face? You sick or something? It's your fault, Gilbert. I can't get this headache to stop. I can't believe the Visconti's boss would come here without any guards. I hate carrying around the extra baggage. I'd prefer having a face-to-face talk and getting this all over with. This as in... that would be the Visconti of the Fell Zone have between us a common enemy. Go on. I nodded, then disclosed all the information I had on me. So the assassination and Marco's death are both unrelated to Nikolai. He was in our meeting when both events happened. It's the perfect alibi. The officer Roberto Di Freccia is the one who tried to frame Nikolai. He's probably the serial killer too. Which makes sense since he can lay on whoever is in the station's holding cell. Dante frowned, thinking. He then asked me a question. The only ones who can prove Nikolai's innocence is the Visconti. You think I'd believe you? Yeah. My immediate response made Dante's frown even more defined. I love this music. It's way too enjoyable. But soon he let out a brief sigh and spoke. I know that the person who targeted me that day wasn't Nikolai. Contrary to rumors, I also know that he isn't involved with the death of my father, the previous boss. After all, I saw who the perpetrator was with my very own eyes. Huh? That's news to me. Naturally, even within the Fell Zone, only a select few know about it. In any case, my father's death has nothing to do with this. I assume the culprit framed Nikolai to tarnish Nikolai's reputation. Yeah, and I think Roberto's taking action with a personal vendetta in mind. He's shot at Nikolai back at the casino. He's been focusing on Nikolai more than the leaders of each family. Not sure what Nikolai did to become so popular. I want to see what Roberto is going to do next. I'm still not sure what's driving him. He hates Nikolai with a passion, but it doesn't seem like he'll get himself directly involved yet. I mean, he's already directly involved just behind the scenes. On top of that, he's obsessed with Katie Bug, the MC. I see hot anime boy. Oh, I'm in love. Hi, Katie. How are you, Nini the Neko? Welcome in. Welcome in. Today is Otome Tuesday right now because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so I wanted to play some romance games. We could send Nikolai to the police station and see if we can get Roberto to make a move. Dante glared at me, hearing my suggestion. Some of my men are in those cells now. We could just say we're there to visit them. Then again, it'd be difficult for Roberto to do anything while we're there. I don't know, I think Roberto is crazy enough to do something. Your suggestion is impractical. Do you know that, right? Dante refuted my suggestion, then looked at me with resolve. There's an easier way of luring the enemy out into the open. Oh, dude, the art style is so fun. And the music, oh my gosh. What other Otome games do you have on your list? I'm curious. And which ones have you played? I'm really good. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm hoping this is the last chapter of Nico's route. And I'm hoping I get the best ending. But we'll see. The culprit tried to kill me so they could frame the murder on Nikolai. If that's the case, I'm a better bait than Nikolai. As soon as they get another chance, the culprit will strike again and attempt to pin the crime on Nikolai like before. I suppose if you die, the general public will probably suspect Nikolai. Which is why you stayed put, so that he's protected, right? I heard you haven't been visiting the church like you have every week in the past. If I show up for a brief moment after such a long hiatus from the public, I'm sure the culprit will take action. Oh, wholeheartedly. I'll be the bait. There's no need to use Nikolai. What are you smiling about? Oh, nothing. I just thought you'd say that. Dante's brows twitched with dissatisfaction. He's a good guy. So Dante and I already have a plan in place. And that plan is, I asked Dante to visit the enemy's base of operation. You mean the Berlin police station? No, it's not Roberto we're after. What do you mean, Gilbert? Noticing the confusion among his men, Gil answered with a stern expression. Roberto is in contact with Yang. So the Lao Shu is behind all this? Are you surprised? The Lao Shu would be thrilled to see us and the Fell Zones duke it out. In other words, we will need to strike the Lao Shu and then Yang. I've been wanting to arrange a connection with the church, so if we can exterminate the Lao Shu, that'll make the negotiation easier. I haven't played any of those. I've heard of the last one. Was it good? Pandora Paradox. Currently playing through my vegan culture. I haven't heard those either. Are they localized? There's a benefit for us in hunting them down. Yang and the Lao Shu. Despite my short encounter with him, I could tell he was a force to be reckoned with. My instincts were telling me to stay far away from him. So Dante is going to visit Lao Shu's base in Viluna? Correct, he's going to do exactly what I did at the Falzones today. The concept behind it is a proposal to form ties with the Lao Shu to defeat the Visconti. I see. That would also make it seem like the Falzone fell for the rumors. The traitor Nikolai sought to kill the boss and killed a police detective in the process. There's no way the Falzones would let such a person or the Visconti go. He would negotiate a deal to expel us from Borlone. Is that the general idea? I felt a little uneasy about Nikolai's words. This plan also... Wait, isn't this plan a bit too risky? Think about it, a boss going straight to the enemy? Do you think the Lao Shu wouldn't take the advantage of such a situation? What Oliver said was right. But Gil was smiling without a care in the world, unfazed by Oliver's concerns. No! I would definitely be concerned. Was excellent, although I was a bit disappointed with how it ended. It had such a nice build-up, and then it just... Oh man, that's always the worst. I've played a couple like that. Oh, that's why I don't have a lot of virtual novels on Steam. I'll have to go check them out. Speaking of virtual novels, I need to pre-order Hakaoki. But Gil was smiling without it. Okay, yeah. Of course not. It's obvious that they won't let Gante go alive. But that would only be after the meeting is done. If I were Yang, I'd wait for him to let his guard down at that time. Let me see. The Lao Shu will probably accept the Falzone's offer and strike a deal for them to work together. Then they'll tell everyone I took down Dante immediately after. The whole town is talking about you. The people of Borlorn will believe the rumors, regardless of whether or not they are true. We'll work off of what the Lao Shu experts and defeat them with the hope of the Falzone. Dante and I thought the same. Oh, and this is his idea, but he's saying we can announce to the public that we protected Dante from the attack. I see, so we'd show everyone that we saved the Falzone's boss. That would get rid of the rumors and restore the Visconti's name. Gil nodded at Oliver's deduction. He then looked at Nikolai. Nikolai, I need you to guard Dante. Me? You saving Dante will prove that we weren't involved in the assassination attempt. That's a very important role to fill. Yeah, so don't forget to load your gun. Nikolai smiled at Gil's playful tone. I've always been ready, ever since that day I first held a gun. Nikolai? It didn't seem like he was lying, but something wasn't right. Nikolai smiled, looked strange, and it was bothering me quite a bit. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. I should ask him about it later, or at least that's what I had hoped. That moment, the meeting ended. Nikolai briskly exited the lounge. Wait a minute, Gilbert. With the meeting adjourned, I hurriedly chased after Gilbert. I need to talk to you. Do you have a minute? Is something bothering you? I don't want her to overhear. Let's talk in private. That's fine. In that case, why don't we step outside? She could have just followed you, you know. Although she's not very ninja-y. The time was well past midnight. The people here love to stay up late, but the streets were already empty. Still, I could hear the murmurant riding upon the breeze that blew by. I understand the strategy you outlined back there. It's a solid one backed by logical reasoning. I have no objections to that. Just one thing. I am concerned of leaving her behind here with a lack of security. I see. Like you said, Roberto has been strangely fixated on me, but I believe that's because she's involved in some fashion. I'd even say she's in the most dangerous position out of everyone. More than Dante acting as bait, more than myself covering for him. Got it. I'll assign more guards to watch her. Is that good? Guards aren't enough. What Gilbert proposed was sufficient, but something inside me was telling me that it wasn't enough. I needed to be with her to protect her. I couldn't trust anyone else to handle that. The thought crossed my mind instantaneously. Gilbert gave a sigh, seeing my impatience at his proposal. Listen, Nikolai, let's assume Roberto does appear in front of her. That's the best thing we can ask for, right? But Gilbert... Hey, stop glaring at me. I'm just saying it like it is. We can take care of the Lao Shu with our men, but we can't simply kill Roberto and be done with it. He has connections with the guys in Rome. We're not in good standing with them, so if we suddenly off him, I can only see a shitstorm ahead. We need a solid evidence that he's the culprit of all that's been happening. I see, you're right. Oh no, are they gonna ask her to get involved? If he dares to sneak into my home in order to abduct her, that's solid evidence that his slippery ass can't wriggle out of. That would call into question his testimony against you and Marco's death, leading to a retortal. This is all for you, you know? You're Mafia, Nikolai. If so, then do what you're told. Understood, but please promise me this. Make sure she has sufficient security. I stared into Gil's eyes to make my statement crystal clear. This was about all I could do for her. At least Nikolai tried. What I needed to do next was coming around the corner. Dante was risking his life to help me restore my dignity and name. Even with that in mind, all I could think about was her. Back to the present. The moment the meeting ended, Nikolai briskly exited the lounge. The following day, the Visconti hurriedly rushed back and forth in preparation. Gil knew that the longer it took to set up, the weaker their advantage would be. So before even a single week passed, the day to take action arrived. Nikolai, bodyguarding while Dante acted as bait. Everyone, even someone like me, could see the dangers involved in the situation. It's almost time. I suppressed the anxiety inside me and got up to see everyone off. Kiss, kiss, fall in love. I was a bit late as the top brass were all about to board their vehicles. Nikolai noticed and came walking toward me. You came to see us off? Yes. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been forever since we last talked. True. I've been busy with preparations. For the record, I wasn't trying to avoid you at all. It almost sounded like an excuse. I giggled at his attempts for an excuse I really got from him. Nikolai blinked, seeing me smile. I searched for the right words to say. Please come back safely. Nikolai gave a gentle smile. I'll come back, I promise. He looked straight into my eyes. Perhaps it was because he was about to risk his life. His eyes were burning hot with passion. Okay, you be good until I get back. He spoke as if consoling a child. I gave a smile and reassured. Wait, what? I think it's supposed to say of reassurance. There are a lot of people here, so I'll be fine. Without saying a word, he extended his hand to me. His fingertips were about to touch my cheek. But before they could come into contact, Nikolai quickly withdrew his fingers. We've been on the defensive all this time. There's no telling whether or not our plan will work. But you'll still go, right? My heart felt like it was choking as I replied to him. It's too risky. I'd rather not see him go. My honest feelings were circling around my mind. But I can't say that to him now. You need to go. For the family. I looked at Nikolai while trying to fight off the tears swelling in my eyes. His eyes stared straight into mine. That's right, but I'm... Nikolai's fingertips touched my cheek. I'm still not sure. Nikolai breathed in slowly, then brought me into his arms. What? What's the matter, Nikolai? I like that MC has different outfits that we get to see. His tight embrace felt like he was holding onto me for help. I could tell he was feeling weak inside, despite his calm demeanor. It's my responsibility as the one who brought harm to the Visconti name. I also owe Dante for trying to save me despite my betrayal. But I'm not sure what to do. I have a bad feeling about what's going to happen. A bad feeling? Someone may strike the manor while we're gone. If that happens, then I won't be able to protect you at all. Nikolai... I was surprised by his sudden embrace and his words. I could feel Nikolai's feelings flowing through me from his body. I'm sorry. I know I'm only making you anxious by saying these things. Don't worry. I held Nikolai rightly and decided to express my honest feelings. I'm happy you're telling me all this. It's worse not knowing what's on your mind. Nikolai has a lot on his shoulders. I can only assume how much he is going through. If only I could help lighten his burden, even for a moment. Nikolai gently whispered in my ear, I'll be back as soon as possible. I'll finish this and clear my name. I'll correct all the wrongs that have happened. There's still a lot to do, but I want to tell you myself once it's all over. Oh, I know. Like, there's this one of my favorite Otome games. The MC doesn't get new outfits. What they did, and I mean, it makes sense. They basically made one outfit for her, and they made it specially, but it's like they made multiple of the same outfit. And so, like, she wears different outfits, but it's the same outfit, so you only see her in 2 outfits throughout the entire game. Boring. It's like, I'm like, ah!
Boring. Hi, Twin.
Hi, whatever you made smells like really good.
Burger, fries, and dip.
Oh, well, it smells really good.
I'm glad you enjoy the smell of our...
I won't die, Katie. Nikolai hesitantly let me go, and I could see his sad expression. I've never seen him like this before. I didn't expect a day like this to come. You're done, Nikolai? A jolly-sounding voice jumped suddenly into my ear, accompanied by a wide smile. Gil is staring at us with a wide grin on his face. Oh, Gil totally knew. Yeah, for real. I mean, I understand the logic behind it, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil the game. So I understand why they did it. I just don't like it, because if they did it to one outfit, they could have done it to multiple outfits, so it's kind of dumb. I forgot everyone is still here. Everyone kept their distance and was looking at us from afar with gentle eyes. This is so embarrassing. Where's the goodbye kiss? Come on, do it. Kiss, 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 kiss. Hey, Gil, stop it. I protested at Gil's teasing smile while hiding my redness from my face. But Nikolai nonchalantly spoke with his usual poker face. I'll give her a kiss when I return. I'd prefer a welcome home kiss anyway. Oh, that's actually really cute! What? I see. Gil nodded as if what Nikolai said made sense. I could feel my cheeks getting hotter by the second. Well, I'll be going, kitty. Be careful. I somewhat awkwardly smiled at Nikolai, and he smiled as well. The cars finally went on their way. I stood alone, watching the cars disappear from sight. Please be safe. All I could do now was pray. Mission! Oh my gosh. Quirky Bug is home, and she brought food down after heating it up, and it smells so yummy. It's making me really hungry. Dante was heading into the Lao Shu's headquarters with only a few soldiers. I was hiding and watching him from afar. Next to me was Gilbert. The district was under Lao Shu rule, and so we could only hide a few of our men. That meant that if they happened to strike, not many of us would be around to help. Oh no. Bum 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 bum. All I could do now was pray. I disengaged the safety and racked the slide. My hands moved unconsciously after so many years of doing this. I've lived in this world since I was born, and yet I can't seem to get her silhouette out of my head. Even on the doorstep of the battle to determine the fate of the Mafia and Borlorn, I can't keep her out of my mind. I'm such a fool. I breathed slowly to calm myself from the rattling emotions I felt. Wow, he's got it bad too. Food! They should have met by now. I couldn't bring myself to eat, so I brought a cup of cafe latte with me into my room. Okay, at least she's drinking something. I passed the time by worrying about their safety. It really felt like ages had passed. After some heavy knocking, the door slammed open. There stood one of the soldiers who had been standing guard in the manor. What is it? Katie, Nikolai, he's been shot. Those Lao Shu started shooting before anyone was able to get inside. Nikolai took the hit in place of Dante. It can't be. We got him to the hospital in critical condition. He's asking for you. Come, let's go. I responded, I'll go. I looked straight at the man and answered him quickly. I'll go. Take me to him. Got it. We got the car ready. Chibi Face! How are you? Thank you, Corky. Guys, go check out Chibi Face. She's fantastic. I am so glad you're feeling better. I followed him out, leaving everything behind. My coffee grew cold on the table. A coffee she would never see again. Bum, 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 bum. I was running as fast as I could. Berlin streets were cobbled with stone. Driving would take more time as the car couldn't fit through these narrow alleys. I need to hurry. What just happened flashed back into my mind. The fierce gunfight was expected. It all started the moment Dante left the Lao Shu's headquarters and got into his car. At that moment, masked men approached and began to fire. I covered myself as I moved in to take a shot at them. Dante rolled away from the gunfire and took the safest cover he could find. We chose the same cover. Figured as much since we did go through the same training. Dante unloaded his gun, dropping his bent casings onto the ground. I'm so glad you're feeling better. I don't remember if I said that, Chibi. Why are you here? Huh? Isn't it obvious I'm here to protect you? I responded naturally to his query. I thought we wouldn't be able to talk like we used to, but it seems I was wrong. I don't think you should be here. This is nothing to me. I can handle it by myself. Dante emerged from the corner briefly and fired. I could tell he hit his target by the agonizing scream from afar. I'm talking about her. I thought she was special to you. I'm not concerned with who she is to the Falzone or the Visconti for that matter. I couldn't reply. Dante continued speaking while keeping his sights on the enemies nearby. Wasn't there that officer who's been harassing you, Roberto, was it? I got a report that he purchased an abandoned building in Place. What could a law officer want with such a property? I had a sinking feeling hearing his words. It's practically a declaration of sinister plans. I don't speak Italian. Why are you telling me this? I replied to his plainly spoken musings. Dante didn't answer my question and instead continued to speak in his usual tone. The cover here is perfect, but it's not enough to cover two people. It would be helpful if one of us left. One other thing, come see me when you're done. You owe me an explanation. Dante! Right, understood. I promise I will. Dante pushed me to do what I wanted. I was finally ready to act. Sadly, you're gonna be too late. She agreed to go with Badman, thinking you had been shot. Oh no, whatever will you do? I carefully avoided the others as I withdrew, then jumped into a car parked in the alley. I drove away from the roaring gunfire. In the end, I choose Kitty. I returned to the manor to find the bodies of soldiers who were assigned to stand guard. Kitty was nowhere in sight. I knew something was going to happen. I was planning on uncovering Roberto's deeds after everything was settled, but I was too optimistic in thinking that was how events would unfold. I jumped in my car and raced to the Fleece district. Fleece? I don't have the time to let Gilbert know. I bit down on my lip to try and keep my cool. If only I had been true to my heart. If only I told her I wanted to be with her. No, it's too early for regrets. I still have time. I will make it in time. Fleece was home to many of the wealthy, so only a few abandoned buildings existed. Fleece was like my backyard, being brought up as a Falzone. It'll be alright. I'll find her. Or will you? I drove through the side roads at full throttle. Please, be safe. After getting off the car at Fleece, the man was leading me through a narrow hallway. Nicola came out here? Yeah, he's been marked by the police, so looks like we couldn't put him in the hospital. Sussy, don't follow him. We came in front of an old building. We're here. He opened an unlocked door and gestured for me to go inside. I took a deep breath, raised my head, and then stepped carefully through the doorway. Oh, girl, you're so stupid. The room was completely empty. Where are you? I brought her as promised. He looked around and yelled aloud, but no one answered. But I sensed her presence behind me. I turned back towards the entrance. He's gonna kill him. Behind the door was Roberto. Good. You're of no use to me now. I would scream. I forced my screams back inside of me. The man was shot in the head from behind and crumpled to the ground. Blood splattered across the floor. There was the second time I had seen someone killed in front of me. The first was the night Nikolai saved me. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I've been waiting for you, Katie. Roberto holstered his gun and slowly closed in on me. I took a step back. Where is Nikolai? You don't have to worry about him anymore. I'll take care of him for you later. Roberto looked strangely upset as he turned his hat in his hand. Later, that means he's not here, is he? What a relief. Roberto raised his brow, confused, as he looked at me. After a moment, he nodded to himself. I see. You must be shaken. No, I'm very calm. I tried my best to keep up a strong front in front of Roberto. I couldn't show that I was scared of him. You killed Marco, and now you're trying to frame Nikolai for it. I also know you used Nikolai's name to get me here. Roberto stared at me. I only used Francisco's name because of a suggestion I received from an ally. An ally? A person who understands me. Yeah, Yang doesn't understand you. He's literally just using you because he's an assassin and he's kind of crazy. I think you're probably worse, though, but I haven't done his route, so I don't know. Roberto cleared his throat and watched and changed the subject. I didn't think you'd come simply because you heard Francisco was hurt, but I'm glad it wasn't wasted effort. Maybe it's because you were raised at the church. You're filled with benevolence. You're kind to everyone, sometimes too kind. The Mafia isn't deserving of your... Ugh. This dude is so annoying. Roberto, you seem to be quite mistaken. What? Roberto frowned. It's not or kindness. The reason I came all this way was because of Nikolai. I love him. I love him. Roberto's eyes widened. You shouldn't have said that. He regained his composure quickly. I called you here because I want to save you. I moved back slowly with each step that Roberto took towards me. Girl, you're gonna put yourself against the wall. Stop backing up. It seems you've lowered yourself to being that scum's mistress, living with the Mafia. Even so, I want to save you. I know you will see the light. I'm not a mistress. If you would only abandon Nikolai and come over to me. I mean, you're not better because you're killing people in your form of justice, which isn't justice, it's murder because you disagree with them. I would have forgiven you of all your sins. You're not God, you can't forgive me. Roberto didn't seem to see me as he continued talking. But now, I'm done with you. If you're this adamant, you can only be saved through death. Roberto spoke boldly, and ever so naturally raised his gun at me. Then, all of a sudden, stop! A voice echoed through the building. A number of shots were made at the ceiling to distract Roberto. You should have just shot him. Damn it, why you? I could see Roberto planning to pull the trigger the moment he saw his target. No! I dashed toward Roberto and tackled him from behind. Ugh. The bullet fired from Roberto's gun flew far away from its target. I tripped and fell toward the ground. But before I hit... Nikolai, dude, you just need to shoot Roberto. That's what you need to do. Nikolai grabbed my arm to keep me from falling. Over here. Okay. I quickly steadied myself and followed after Nikolai, who was pulling me by the hand. We finally escaped from the building. We ran through the alley as fast as we could until we reached the bustling city street. Okay, cool.
You're good. You're good.
Running here is going to draw attention. Nikolai kept a hold on my hand and strode through the droves of people. Let's escape into the crowd. I don't want to kill Roberto, not just yet. He's the key to the end of the warring that's going on right now. You left to come and protect me? I couldn't stop my body from shaking. I didn't expect him to come for me. Yeah, of course he did. He loves you. Also, Dante, his brother, told him to, because Dante likes you and likes that you make Nikolai happy. Nikolai turned his head to me and smiled gently. He continued without answering my question. The Falzone and the Visconti need to have him properly punished. I can't have him die simply because the Mafia killed him. Punishing him properly will help us restore the family name while also serving as vengeance. I also don't want you to see any more bloodshed. Thank you. I wish to not see any more bloodshed. Then suddenly... Is he shooting people? Where are you, Nikolai? A lunatic voice rose above the gunfire. Roberto was closing in on us. If you don't come out, I'm going to remove the rotten filth here one by one. These dirty mafia-loving civilians don't deserve to live. Wow, he is crazy. What? What is he saying? This is justice, Nikolai. Nikolai's eyes grew cold. Ah. He turned around, losing his grip on my hand. I tried to stop him by squeezing his hand tightly. I'm going with you. We looked at each other for a moment. That was all that was needed. He understood right away. I had no intention of changing my mind. Stay behind me. Just don't get shot. The people were scattering. Nikolai parted the oncoming crowd and headed straight towards the source. And he finally found it. I'm here, Roberto. His voice was loud and clear over the people running and screaming. Nikolai held my hand. I just want to hold your hand. Just want to hold your hand. Take it easy, pal. We were having a jolly good time. Hi, Pixel One. How are you? Welcome in. How nice of you to quietly obey. Release her now. She's not yours. Roberto demanded him to release me, to which Nicola replied, just for the record, I have nothing against your justice. I assume killing the Mafia in Berlin and even killing Marco was all part of your justice. Marco was working with the Mafia. I know the police here are tied to the Mafia in more ways than one, but Marco leaned too far toward them. He deserved to die, no different from them. Oof. You mean it's fine to kill the Mafia, right? Naturally, their deaths will purge the town clean and lead to peace. Nikolai stared at Roberto in silence with his cold and ruthless eyes. We thrive by use of force and violence. It helps us gain wealth, power, and glory. We protect the land and the people who live here. We're not afraid to die for that. Which is why the people respect us. Respect. Listen carefully, Roberto. What I'm about to say won't change even if the world sides with your justice. He spoke boldly to Roberto. Katie will stay with me. I love her. Oh, well, that's one way to confess your love to me. Roberto's eyes widened and his lips quivered. Love? A criminal loves her? I am a man of honor. I will protect the one I love with my life. Impossible! A criminal like you has no such thing as honor. Roberto's face contorted with agony, but Nikolai smiled. I will never let go of her hand. He was right. He had been holding my hand all this time. Aw, cute love birds. But just don't die, please. His feelings seemed to flow through my hand to warm my heart. Roberto stood there, shaking in rage. You've killed many, and you were just about to lay your hands on this precious person. You should be punished. But we won't be the ones to punish you. The justice you so admire, the Kingdom of Italy should punish you accordingly. Damn you, don't be ridiculous. You're a damn criminal, Nikolai. You're the one who should be punished. You're the one who should suffer. She's been pleading for me deep down, and if that's not true... Oh my gosh, he's so crazy. He's so deluded and deranged. He's completely lost it. I feel kind of bad, but also... like, this sounds like it's going bad. Yeah, it kind of does. Nikolai sighed, hearing his madness explode in front of us. He then let go of my hand. Ooh. Before I knew it, his gun appeared. I guess I'll have to kill you then. He spoke without remorse. His eyes were dead cold. I had never seen Nikolai like this before. I'm going to... Roberto froze while pointing his gun at us. He was gasping for air as if he was being stared at by death himself. And in a flash of a moment, the scene played out before me unfolded as if in slow motion. You disregarded my warning to you. I remember the words he said before. Do you remember this? I won't let you bring any harm to her. Don't force your justice onto others. Oh yeah, he did say that. I forgot about that. Roberto fell to the ground with a thud. Nikolai looked down at him. I've lived my life in the mafia, but I've never wanted to have someone dead before. But you're the first I've ever wanted to kill myself. In the name of honor. Nikolai put his gun back in his coat, then smiled at me. It's over. Nikolai. I hugged him tightly. He held my shivering body with firm arms. Bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum ba bum bum bum. I can hear the bells. I came back from loading the dishwasher and all I hear is, I have to kill you. Yeah, Nicola had to kill Roberto because Roberto was going to kill MC and yeah. Oh, it's not over yet. Within a day, the people of Berlin found out what really happened. The Falzone family boss, Dante Falzone, was attacked in the district and a gunfight ensued. By sheer coincidence, the Visconti was nearby and saved his life. During that time, Detective Roberto went on a shooting rampage in the Place district. To prevent further violence, the Visconti's Nikolai shot and killed him. Later, evidence was found proving that detectives' connection to the Lao Shu. The discovery was made implementing Roberto in the mass murders against the mafia in Berlin. Roberto had given his eyewitness account of Marco's final words, naming Nikolai as his killer, but his words were to be recanted later. The person who misled you was connected to the Lao Shu. I'm sorry I had to put you in such a dangerous situation. He looks like a puppy that's been kicked. Gil was struck with remorse, but he realized he raised his head to look straight at me, apologizing in earnest. It's all right, Gil. You don't need to apologize. I shook my head and smiled. Nikolai came to save me, so I'm okay. I know you've been through a lot of trouble for me, Gil. Gil worked with the newspapers to publish Roberto's deeds and clear Nikolai's name. He never once reprimanded Nikolai for moving on his own during the mission. Nikolai really appreciates what you've done too. I should add that I'm still a bit upset. Nikolai. I sighed and then looked at Nikolai. Well, only a little. That doesn't look like a little. It looks like he's up to trouble. Nikolai shrugged, but I could tell he was angry inside. You were in serious danger back then. I could have died. You could have easily been killed. Everything could have been over before I even got to you. You see why I'm angry, right, Gilbert? Of course, I'm also angry at myself. I mean, I get it. I totally understand. Like, home dog, you done messed up. Like... Yeah, I was responsible for someone you love. I don't expect you to be lenient with me. Gil. Nikolai is the type to hold grudges. I can see that. That's very rude of you two. Gil cleared his throat to change the subject. In any case, Nikolai's name has been cleared of all false allegations. By tomorrow, an article dedicated by Oliver should appear in the headlines. Article? It's going to share how Nikolai betrayed the Falzone family and joined the Visconti, and that it was all planned. Nikolai betrayal was done to bait the mass murderer into revealing himself. The Falzone family and the Visconti family worked behind the scenes to rid Berlin of the threat. Not bad, right? Are you sure that can go in the paper? Isn't Dante going to be upset? I already have his approval. All of our men are aware of it already. Wait, you kept this from us and only mentioned it now? Nikolai looked bewildered, and the corners of Gil's lips turned upward. That's right, it was something I was working on with Dante a while back, but now that things are settled, we went to action and got everything ready to go public. This is all too sudden. I couldn't believe you left me out of this. Nikolai bitterly shrugged his shoulder. I did actually betray him, you know. Your objective was to come here and use us to get rid of the Falzon family. You negotiated a deal with me to ensure Dante's safety. The deal was for us to leave Dante alone, and in return, you'd work your ass off for us. I didn't know that. It wasn't hard for me to figure out when you proposed that deal, you know? So, Gil knew all along. He knew that Nicola betrayed Dante and the family to let Dante free. Problem is, Dante's actions weren't included in Nikolai's plans. Ain't that right? You know how Dante is. He wouldn't have listened to me. Dante would sacrifice his own life without a thought to his freedom. Nikolai. Gil suddenly spoke in a serious tone. Are you ready? If you are a man of honor, then it's time for you to pay your dues. Pay my dues. Nikolai looked sternly at Gil. Gilbert, what do you want from me? Gil narrowed his eyes. I couldn't tell if he was angry or if he was just having fun. First, I need to have you leave my family. Huh? I expressed my surprise without thinking. Your contract with us is over. Hell, you tried to use us, you know? There's no place for you in the Visconti. That's quite harsh. Your goal was to put an end to the Falzon family, but now that the Lashu are gone, I'd be a lot better for us to work with the Falzons and share the wealth. Which means you won't be able to fulfill your mission here anymore. Got it? Oh yeah, make sure you take back everything you brought with you. Gil then looked at me. I wasn't sure why he was looking at me, but after a short moment, it dawned on me. Are you sure? Gil responded quickly. The last shoe went around, so the church has to talk to us to maintain their control. Even without you around, I'm sure we'll be able to negotiate at an advantage. I forgot to add, but we spent a hell of a lot of money over what happened. I ain't got the funds to carry you folks. Gil, let's assume I said you can't go. You know what happened? Huh, then I would have to stay here forever. You fell in love with a man who stood up against the largest family around, the Falzon. He wouldn't give a second thought to pulling a gun on me. I mean, this is true. All for the sake of keeping you with him. After hearing Gil's words, I turned my head to look at Nikolai. He caught my eye and smiled. His usual front was making it hard for me to tell what was going on in his mind. But I'm pretty sure what Gil said wouldn't have been too far from the truth. That's what I believed, at least. Now then, get the hell out of here. Yes, sir. After Nikolai and I left the lounge, he let out a sigh. Dante told me to come over to see him. I really don't want to go. It can't be helped. Gil stepped out right after us, and hearing Nikolai's words, he burst out laughing. You've got to be kidding me. Just go and be honest with him. What you tried to do was going to change the lives of many, including Dante's. You've got some nerve not explaining yourself after dragging everyone into your nonsense. Gil kept talking so that Nikolai wouldn't have a chance to argue. If Dante really wants to be free from his duties, the Visconti can take Berlin off his hands. That's all there is to it. And what would you do to Dante? Gil shrugged at my question, exhaling deeply. A coward like that isn't worth my time. I just exile him from town and call it a day. No matter what you do, the results won't change. Gil changed his tone. Nikolai, come to the Visconti family for Berlin. Now that things are settled, it's only right that you leave this place. Remember what I said, got it? And with that, Gil walked down the hallway and out of sight. Just to be honest, that's easier said than done. I'm sure Gil was trying his best to cheer you on. I understand. Let's go. To the Falzons? Yes, I'll talk to Dante. Finally! Yes, I'm sure it will go well. Will you come with me? Of course. Nikolai sighed and smiled, seeing me beam brightly at his invitation. Leo! Welcome back. Upon our arrival at the Falzon Manor, Leo greeted us with a bright smile on his face. Leo, it's so nice to see you again. Yes, it sure is. Leo was so happy to see Nikolai that it almost seemed like he was going to pounce on him. I knew I was right for believing in you, Nikolai, but that was mean of you to not tell me anything. I was so worried. Oh, poor little puppy needs a hug. I'm so glad you had fun. Have a good night, Green Dragon. See you later. You're right. I left everyone so suddenly. I'm sorry to have worried you. Well, it was part of the plan, so I know you wouldn't have left us without a reason. Still, I was so worried. In any case, I'm just glad to see both of you back again. No, I'm not back. I simply came by to pay my respects to Dante today. I did tell you that when I called you. Huh? You mean you'll move back on another day? Well, no use standing around here. Come in, the boss is waiting. Everyone's just like, Nikolai, come home! And Nikolai's like, I'm not coming back. I chuckled at their usual back and forth. It almost felt like nothing has changed. Just looking inside the manor brought back memories of our living together. We could reminisce later. It was time for us to go and see Dante. Leo took his leave near the salon, and we continued our way down the familiar corridor. Nikolai's expression hardened the closer we got. Sensing his tension, I reached out and gently took his hand. He looked at me, astonished. He quickly squeezed my hand and smiled to show that he was all right. Soon we arrived at the office where the Falzone's boss resided. Finally here? You're late. Dante slowly stood up from his chair and looked at us. For several moments, Dante and Nikolai looked at each other without a word. Nikolai broke the silence and began to speak. I came to thank you. Thank me for what? Dante spoke in a low voice, his expression unchanged. Dante responded, the information you provided me at the Laoshu saved her. Without it, I would have lost someone dear to me. Dante calmly looked at Nikolai, into Nikolai's eyes, and asked a question. What do you think your old self would have done? Would you have disregarded your family's mission and run to save a single woman? Nikolai was hesitant to reply. Dante looked at me. What do you think, Kitty? I took a deep breath and answered, the old Nikolai wouldn't have come for me. That was why I was completely surprised to see him there back then. He would never have left your side if he were still with his Falzone family. I believe you're right. I know more than anyone how loyal and obedient Nikolai is to the family. Nikolai tried to speak, but Dante shook his head and continued. Even if he did betray the family, his motives were not to bring me harm. I never once thought otherwise. Dante was speaking from the heart. He looked at Nikolai sternly with unwavering eyes. Why did you leave the family? I want to know the truth, Nikolai. Nikolai was still hesitant to speak. But after a moment, Nikolai finally opened his mouth to say what was on his mind. You're bound to your bloodline. I see, I understand now. Just a single line from Nikolai. That was all Dante needed to hear. Dante closed his eyes as if reminiscing. I can't deny that. I am burdened by the weight of my bloodline. I'm unfit to be boss. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have taken the seat. I was confused at my very existence in the beginning. I was confused in my very existence in being the Falzone's boss. All that happens is my responsibility. He lowered his head and closed his eyes in suffering. But soon enough, he lifted his face to us, showing his usual self as boss of the family. The Falzone family is my home and something I must protect. It's not because of a sense of obligation. My wish and my desire is to protect this family. My blood doesn't change that fact. Dante, I am a man of honor, a man of undeniable pride. As such, I will live my life as boss and to the very end of Falzone. Are you sure you're fine with that? As Nikolai's questioned, Dante gave a small smile. I've chosen this path. I have no regrets. I see. Nikolai sighed with relief, but chuckled to himself with scorn. Guess I was working myself up for nothing. Even if your actions were for me, you've still betrayed the family. That is a cardinal sin to the Mafia, and something that cannot go unpunished. But Nikolai is like my brother. I am also human. I don't wish to punish my own brother. Only now, Dante? Nikolai covered his face with his hands and tried to shake off his tears. Never once did you ever call me your brother. This isn't fair. Oh, poor Nikolai! Nikolai's voice shook. Nikolai, thank you. Thank goodness. I breathed a sigh of relief seeing that their true feelings had finally been shared. Yay! Silence took over the room for a moment, then Dante spoke. I can't finish my work without you around. I haven't had a decent night's sleep in ages. Dante pouted in a manner that almost seemed as if he were back in his youth. If you haven't given up on me yet, I would appreciate it if you'd return. Dante, that's... But betrayal will no longer be tolerated. Your obedience is an oath, Nikolai. Nikolai placed his hand over his heart and replied with that is a promise. Dante Falzone, I swear on my life that I will live as a Falzone and as your right-hand man if you have me. I accept. Oh, they reconciled! Tears welled in my eyes. As I tried to fight back tears, Dante turned his head to me. I'm sorry you were unwillingly dragged into this. Not at all. I'm fine, really. I didn't expect Dante to apologize to me as a boss. I would have been dead that night if Nikolai hadn't come to save me. On top of that, I'm beyond happy that Nikolai is back to being a Falzone again. Unbelievable. Nikolai sighed, hearing my words. Dante looked at both of us and smiled. My blessing to you both from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Dante's just a big old softie. With our conversation with Dante over, I walked out to the garden with Nikolai. We sat on the bench and breathed in fresh air. The cool breeze signaled a coming of winter. After a short moment, Nikolai thanked me. Thank you, Kitty. Nikolai? He looked around the beautiful garden and spoke softly. I never thought I'd see the day when we could enjoy the garden like this again. This is the very place we spent so much time together and where I first showed you my true self. His words brought vivid memories back from when we were in the garden. He said to me that he was only kind to me because I was of some value to him, but I wonder if he said that what he said back then actually had been truth to it. Nicola looked at me and whispered quietly in my ear. Hey, what I said to you before was odd, wasn't it? Yes. Everyone thinks I'm a murderer now. Being with me will only bring you problems. Because of that, I can't share words of love to you. Not in my current state. Nikolai forced a smile while looking straight into my eyes. Now I can see what I wanted to tell you then. Will you listen? He spoke my name, then slowly placed his hand on mine. Yes, please tell me. Even now, I find it difficult to tell you everything. Of being honest with you. But I can't hold back my feelings much longer. His beautiful jade eyes were captivating. Deep in his eyes, I could see my reflection as well. I'm in love with you, and I want you to be by my side forever. Nikolai held my hand more strongly now. I'm Mafia, through and through. A day might come when you'll regret ever meeting me. You may despise the blood on my hands, but still, I can't let you go. So, I'm sorry, can you let me keep you? Nikolai. Kiss, kiss, kiss! My heart trembled from his words. I could feel tears welling up in my eyes. Yes, nothing would make me happier. I want to be with you forever. I don't care if you're Mafia. Hearing my response, Nikolai embraced me. If you don't mind. I looked up and saw him grinning with a playful look on his face. May I kiss you, senorita? I chuckled at his request, and the tears flowed from my eyes. Why, of course, senor. I closed my eyes, hearing him talk to me the way he did before. Tears of joy and happiness slowly rolled down my cheeks. I'm assuming that was the best end, considering they got together and all that good jazz. To watch the credits, because I don't think I can skip them. To see if anything happens after. Oh man, this music is so great. Is that the day? I really liked it. It wasn't like my most favorite route in all of my time of playing Otome games. I definitely want to play something a little bit happier. I think I'm gonna edit some Cupid Parasite after this, or do some artwork. But it's not bad. It's definitely a darker Otome game with, you know, death and violence and stuff, but not terrible. Is that it? Oh, hey, no, look, after story. The birds were chirping, beckoning the sunrise. The winter sunlight gently shone inside through the glass window. My mind sleepily tried to awaken from the morning light. I tried to stretch away the tiredness I felt, but I couldn't seem to move. I felt warmth right next to me. I hope I got that. Good morning, Nicola. Let me take it. Just be safe. Good morning, kitty. Finally awake, are you? Yes? Yeah, I was expecting it to be dark. I know some of the bad endings that I'm not gonna play, because, like, I'll get all the CGs, because I want all the CGs, and I'll use a walkthrough for those off stream. But, like, there's certain characters' bad endings that I'm going to do my utmost to avoid, because they're pretty bad. His gentle smile was so enduring that I wanted to hide my face. Nikolai is looking at me. That was all he was doing, but that alone was embarrassing for me. Just thinking about yesterday was too much. Even now, our bodies were in contact. I could feel Nikolai's warmth on my skin. I should apologize while I still can. He played with my hair, using his fingers. I looked into his face as he whispered, "I'm sorry about yesterday. I thought I could keep my composure." I've taken such pride in being able to control myself, but I suppose I was wrong. Nikolai, just a moment. I realized what he was referring to, so I tried to stop him from saying anything further. I didn't want to push too much. I really didn't, but... Wait, you don't have to tell me. Tell you, it just happened a few hours ago. Don't tell me you forgot already. That's going to hurt my ego as a man. They sure are alluding to something super indiscreet, not discreetly. I didn't forget or anything. That's not it at all. Just thinking about it, I feel like I'm going to die. Nikolai looked at me with caring eyes as I blushed a scarlet red. Sorry about that. Are you mad? I wasn't sure if he was genuinely sorry or if he was simply teasing me. Look at his bright smile. Just hearing him speak to me like this is making my heart beat so fast that I can hear it thumping in my chest. I wanted to hide myself from him. Of course, it was impossible, so I decided to simply reply to his question. No, I'm not mad. In fact, I'm happy now. Happy? How so? I can feel that you really love me from the bottom of your heart. Nikolai? Guess I need to make you feel it even more. Huh? Oh, I need to get up. I have to go and help Glia with... Don't worry, everyone is still asleep. You can stay in bed for a while longer. He's like, no, you're not. You're, not leaving. But, any more of this, and I think I really am going to die. Dying from embarrassment, but more so from the happiness of being with him. Nikolai spoke to me in a sweet and gentle way in an effort to delay my departure. Come now, I haven't ever felt this happy being near someone like this before. So, can you make me even more happy, dearest? Please? That's so unfair, Nikolai. How could I refuse that? I was unable to hide my blushing from him in such close quarters. He smiled and gently embraced me. Welcome to Berlin, facing sea, a town ruled by the Mafia. I was born and raised in a world outside of the Mafia, and I fell in love with the Falzon family's underboss, Nikolai Francisca. I don't think I'm saying his last name right, but it's fine. I tried. Okay, that was a cute ending. That was worth it. Finn. We did it! We beat one of the 5 routes. 4 more to go.